Hello, folks. Thanks for joining today on this podcast on a very important subject that was really going to wake you up and make you see the reality of your health condition. We call this podcast, Are You Really Healthy? So I'm going to give you the test and you're going to determine if you're really healthy. See, it'd be like going to the car mechanic and just walking into the car mechanic and say, is my car really running good? Now, you may be driving the car down the road and you think everything is hunky-dory and you're fine. Maybe a little smoke coming out the back. Maybe the brakes squeak a little bit, but nothing big. So you think everything is fine. But if you took that car into a car mechanic, particularly if it's an old car, and basically if you're over 50, your car is over 50. So you take this old car in and it's over 50, over 60 years old. It's running, you're driving it, you're getting to work on it. And you ask the mechanic, is it really in good shape? And what's the mechanic going to do? He's going to go through and test everything. And believe me, he's going to find a long list of issues that need to be repaired. Now, because he's going to fix the problem before you end up on the side of the road. But most people, they'll just keep driving the car until they're on the side of the road. And then they tow it back to the mechanic and start paying at that point. And that's what people do with their health, too. You know, they're kind of in denial. I'm fine. It's okay. I'm fine. Everything's good. I'm fine. I mean, people do this. Mostly my gender is notorious for this, of saying, I'm fine. And then, months later, they have a stroke and they're in the hospital. And then finally, they start changing their life. And most of my patients follow that pattern of believing they're fine. Maybe they're taking supplements. Maybe they're taking vitamins, so they're quote, eating good, or they think they are. And then they have the stroke. Then they find out they have kidney failure. Then they find out their blood pressure was really high and they didn't even know it. They find out their blood sugar is really high. They didn't know it. And the doctor starts throwing them on the meds. And then they'll take the meds for a while till they get more side effects. And then they're on more meds. And, so they were not healthy in the first place. They just thought they were. That's what's so important here, is you just can't think that you're healthy just because, you got a good attitude. But it's really not a good attitude. It's denial, because human body is very complex and you got to really be in the maintenance and prevention to be truly healthy. Now, there's many misconceptions about what is healthy, so that only complicates it. For example, if you're a skinny person, and you got a little six pack and you're all skinny and thin, people think that's healthy. But skinny people are the least healthy. If your bones are sticking out on the back of your hands, your collarbone is sticking out, you can see your ribs, you're depleted, you're underweight. Even if your skin is like paper thin, you're not getting enough fat. If your gums are receding, you're not getting enough protein. If you're like, and you get tired in the afternoon, you take a nap or have a cup of coffee. I mean, it's another sign of a depleted, weak person. But people think, hey, you're looking good there in that bathing suit that you fit in when you were 20 years old. But they think that is a sign of health. Well, that's not. A lot of skinny women have a lot of serious health problems. And it goes for the men too. Just because you got a bunch of muscles, you're at the gym, you got a great bench press, you can do a bunch of pull-ups, that doesn't mean you're healthy. We get people in here all the time with big muscles, and they mostly come in from excess protein. They get gout from all the protein powder they're taking, all the meat they're eating. They get fatty liver from all the meat they're eating. They get gallstones from all the meat they're eating. And, they get constipated from all the meat they're eating. But, hey, they look great in the gym. And, people think they're healthy. Well, muscular people doesn't mean healthy. It usually means they're kind of obsessed with their looks and they're not even thinking of their health. That's what it really means. So there's many misconceptions there about what really is healthy. And so this being skinny, being muscular, being able to, maybe even run, or many people think, oh, I'm eating good. Well, they're eating good right up until the day they have cancer. And then they find out, well, they were eating good in their minds, all these salads, skipping meals, no grains. And that's how they got depleted and weak and degenerative bones, because they were doing all this fasting and skipping meals and just eating salads. They were depleting themselves for decades. And then their hair starts falling out. They start taking supplements. And then, then the doctor says they have a degenerative bone condition. Maybe after they fell, their bones break easy, and then they determine that their bones are so fragile. That's from these extreme diets. Lead people to be unhealthy when they think they're healthy because they're, quote, eating good. A lot of people think just because they're taking a bunch of vitamins, they're healthy. Well, most of these vitamins people are taking are synthetic vitamins anyway. They're isolated chemical vitamins, and they're not complete nutrients unless you're taking food-based supplements. So, but again, taking a handful of vitamins and minerals every day kind of gives you this false sense that, you're healthy because you're taking all these synthetic vitamins. And then the people are thinking, well, I'm eating healthy. They're snacking on nuts, which is a disastrous habit. So I'm eating healthy because I'm not having foods. That's what people think. I'm not having dairy. I'm not having wheat. I'm not having grains. So that makes me healthy. Now, these are all misconceptions of what is healthy. So what is a healthy person? Well, let's just start with the basics. Healthy person has a good appetite, has good bowel movements every day, has good energy every day, and is sleeping every day. That's just the basics. And as long as you're not like an old over 80, you should have a libido. That's another sign of health. I mean, there's men nowadays in their 30s and their 40s. They've got no libido. That is the sign of poor health. When your reproductive system isn't even working. Many young women have smoothie girls living off of smoothies and coffee. They're all skinny, all sexy, and then their period stops. So they've depleted themselves so much, their menstrual cycle stops. So in any infertility, any poor libido, these are also signs of not being a healthy human. Even not being able to eat bread. Yeah, that's not a good sign of digestion. Everybody else is eating bread. Oh, I can't have bread. I can't have bread. Oh, I can't eat this. I can't eat that. If you can't eat all these foods, you have a digestive problem. But let's start with the test. Let's do the test right from the beginning. Test number one. You could pretend you're all raising your hands, because this is how I used to do this when I used to speak around the world. I'd tell everybody, raise your hand. Now lower your hand. Raise your hand if you think you're healthy. Usually, 90% of the people will raise their hands. Just the guy in the wheelchair, he doesn't raise his hand, but most everybody else does. So then I say, lower your hand if you answer any of these following questions affirmatively as a positive. And then we're going to see at the end how many people in this audience, say there's 100 people, we're going to see who's really healthy. Usually it's just some couple teenagers left because all the adults realize they're not healthy. So let's do the test. Pretend your hand's up, and you're going to, take yourself out once you answer affirmatively to any one of these questions. First question, number one, are you taking any medications? If you answer yes, you scratch yourself off the healthy list. And that's another misconception people have. Well, I'm fine. But then you look at him and you find out he's taking 3 or 4 meds. How could you be fine when you're taking 3 blood pressure medications, insulin? Yeah, you're not healthy. See, you need to look at the human body and stop and think of everything as systems and organs. So if you're having a problem with your cholesterol, it's a liver problem. If you're having a problem with your blood sugar, it's a pancreas problem. If you're having a problem with your blood pressure, it's your heart, your arteries and your veins, your circulatory system. If you're having trouble with your muscle, pain, it's usually with your muscles or your joints. So, just look at things in terms of organs, body parts, organs, and systems. That's what we're checking. Just like a mechanic, he's going to check every system in the body. So if you're taking a couple meds, just scratch yourself off the list. Okay, you're out. Number 2, if you have high blood pressure or high blood sugar and you're not taking meds, because a lot of people, they're just not taking the meds either because they're scared of the side effects. But they have the high blood pressure, and then they may be just drinking hibiscus tea or something, or they have high blood sugar, so they try to leave out carbs or take some vitamin they saw online, because these people hacking vitamins make you believe that just taking some vitamins is going to treat your chronic health condition. So that gives them a false sense of security. So a lot of people are walking around with high blood pressure and high blood sugar and not taking medicine. Well, if you're in that category, put your hand down. You're out. Okay. If you have any pain in the body, nerve pain, sciatic pain, if you have any joint pain, you've got, your joints are sore, your neck is sore, you got maybe if it's inflamed, obviously even worse. If it's inflammatory arthritis, if you have to take aspirin, well, put your hand down. You're out. If you're taking painkillers, you're out. It's over. You're in pain. You have an inflammatory condition. You are not healthy. Out. Okay. Another one that gets there is if you got a bunch of women left, still with your hands up. Are you urinating at night? If you say yes, out. That's a problem with what? Kidney, bladder system. Could be the bladder, could be inflamed. Just like people, if you have diarrhea every day, you're out. That's usually the colon's inflamed, like IBS, irritable bowel. And if you're urinating a lot, could be urinary tract infection, could be UTI, could be bladder inflammation, could be, bacteria in there. Or just could be inflamed, just like your colon can get inflamed. Your bladder can be just really sensitive and inflamed. And of course, urinating can also be a sign of high blood sugar. But anyway, if you're urinating at night, hand down, you're out. You're not healthy. You have a problem with that system. Okay. And if you're not sleeping all night for any reason, maybe and you have to take sleeping meds every night, or you're tossing and turning, waking up, you're on a CPAP machine. You can't sleep without this oxygen being pumped down you. So that's if you can't sleep because you need oxygen pumped in you, you have a respiratory problem, which I treat all the time because it's a respiratory problem. People get confused because they just think they have some type of disease when they really just have congestion in the respiratory system, for example. But anyway, you're off the list if you're on a CPAP machine. You're off the list if you can't sleep through the whole night. Okay. And bowel movements. Hey, if you're not having a bowel movement every day, you're off the list. Now, a lot of people don't even know what healthy bowel movements are. I mean, most people, if you ask them, how are your bowels, they'll say, oh, normal. Okay, no, ma'am, just give me a number, 1, 2, or 3 a day, or you're skipping a day. Oh, sorry, because some skipping every other day. But that's normal for them. Well, that's how we get diverticulitis, colon irritable bowel, hemorrhoids, colon cancer. This is all coming from constipation. That they say the diarrhea is a fast killer, but the constipation is a slow killer. So if you're not having at least one bowel movement a day easily, not a hard, dry one like golf balls, you're out. And even if you sometimes are constipated, you're out. And technically, if you eat 2 or 3 meals a day and you're only going once a day, you're still constipated. So if you're having, constipated bowel movements, then you're just not going every day. You're out. Now, on the other hand, if you have loose stools, diarrhea, and bleeding out the colon, whether it's ulcerative colitis or hemorrhoids, you're off the list too, because that's an inflammatory colon condition like, IBS. So many people, they don't even take that seriously because they used to be constipated. Now they're having all these loose stools. So they think, well, that's better than constipated. But this is the early signs of irritable bowel. The doctor's going to want to do the colonoscopy, going to give you some nice pictures, show you that your colon is all inflamed. But a lot of people, they just ignore it because it's just loose stools for a little while. Okay, if you're tired, say you're sleeping good, but you're still tired, you're weak, you're fatigued. This can just come from stress, can come from overwork, under eating, crazy extreme diets, over fasting. Everybody's doing this, so-called intermediate fast, which a lot of people is just making their health condition worse, making them weak. They need coffee, they need yerba mate, they need chocolate, they need stimulants just to get through life, to push it through. And sometimes we have to push through to get through life. It's understandable. But if you can't live without that caffeine, that stimulants, that's not a good sign. You wouldn't really want to put yourself in the premium category of healthy individual. And of course, if you got a lot of gas, bloating, you're not healthy. Gas, bloating, acidity, heartburn, These are all digestive problems. So if you got heartburn all the time, not good. If you have big skin problems, usually is a problem with the liver. And of course, we mentioned libido. I mean, if you're a younger person, your 30s, your 40s, you should have 50s, you're in a relationship, you should have some libido. If you don't have any libido, and if you're a man and you're just not getting it up, then that's a big health problem. And, just covering it up and taking some pill is just not really solving the problem. And, another good point is a lot of people just blame it all on genetics. So there's kind of like a type of denial. So you've got to wake up. I would say that's the big answer here. Wake up and accept the reality. If you're a man and you think you're healthy, go ask your wife. She'll tell you the truth, because most men are like, I'm fine. And the wife's been telling them, oh, you need to cut back on the alcohol. You need to cut back on the smoking. You need to cut back on this. And she's like, yeah, leave me alone. Don't bother me. Until he has serious liver problems, blood pressure problems, blood sugar problems, and then he gets serious. So if you're a guy, go ask the wife, am I really healthy? And see what she has to say. That's my advice. Or go to a practitioner who has got the skills to diagnose all the systems in your body, even your memory. If you're forgetting all the time and you're only in your 50s, that's not good. What's it going to be like in your 60s or your 70s? So the best is you go to a practitioner and you say, okay, give me a big checkup and tell me all my health problems and what can you treat? And that's exactly what I do for every new patient, because they have to fill out a 10-page questionnaire. And I'm not asking about names of diseases. I'm asking about respiratory system, cardiovascular system, muscular system, nervous system, etc., and different tissues, questions that relate to the liver, questions that relate to the pancreas, questions that relate to digestion, questions that relate to the elimination of toxins through urination, through sweat. So I'm asking questions that are about the different systems in the body, because that's what I'm looking for. There may not be a medical name even for some of the problems that I find. And to a medical doctor, many of these issues aren't even a problem to them. They don't even care about them because they're not like serious medical conditions. But they're not going to magically just go away on their own. They're just going to progress on a pathology, and today you're missing a bowel movement once a day, in 10 years, now you're having diverticuli. Another 10 years, you have diverticulitis. 30 years, you've got colon polyps. Then you have 40 years, you got colon cancer. I mean, it just keeps progressing. Some of these conditions like constipation, urinating at night, not sleeping well, they don't do you in a month or a year. They do you in over the years of the same health condition, just, degrading your life, degrading your quality of life. Don't have higher standards. Want your body running good, just like a person who drives a car, a race car. He wants it running at top performance. He wants that engine running good. You want your digestion running good, humming, hungry in the morning, no gas, no bloating, no constipation, and feeling energy after you eat. And after your 2 or 3 meals a day, you feel good, you feel satiated. You have to think like you want the whole system running good. Energy in the morning, sleepy at night. This is the cycles that we need to be in. Now, of course, our life full of stress, affects so many aspects of our life, because stress affects our nervous system. Our nervous system has impact on every single organ in our body, including our digestion. So stress is a real killer. And you may have to change parts of your life to reduce the stress, change where you're living, change your attitude, change your job, change many things in your life to get that stress down so you can live a more simple, happy, and healthy life. That's my recommendation. And if you need help to diagnose all of your health problems and to treat, we could prioritize them and then treat them one at a time. And don't think that just your blood work is showing whether you're healthy. That's another good point. A lot of people say, oh, my numbers are good, so I'm fine, but you're not good. You're having anxiety. You're not sleeping. You can't digest this food. You can't digest this food. If you can't you can't digest bread, you can't digest and eat all these foods, you have a digestive problem. Now, of course, there's many reasons. You could have inflammation in the stomach and the intestines. You could have, a histamine response, an allergy response, digestive problems, constipated. There's many causes, but basically, if you just can't eat a lot of foods, that's a problem. And that's not going to show up in your blood work. So blood work is useful. You can see the really serious issues there, but you can have liver problems and all your liver enzymes, bilirubin, AST, ALT could be fine. Your kidney function could be fine on paper with your eGFR, your flow rate through your kidneys, could be 65, but most doctors say anything over 60 is good. But that's 40% of your kidney function is gone. And they're still saying it's good. That's not good, particularly if you're 30, 40 years old. But if you look at the blood work and you look at this kidney function, they say, you're not even going to be out of range if you're at 65. But you're 38 years old and you've lost 35% of your kidney's ability to filter and flow, and you're urinating at night, this is not healthy. So even the doctors have very low standards. They're looking for the serious life-threatening conditions that could justify putting you on a medication. If you have an issue that's just your bilirubin's a little high, but you're in range, they don't care. They just wait until another 6 months, and then it will be out of range. Then they can give you some meds. So, you have to, don't just rely on, the doctor's blood work. And of course, they don't really spend much time talking to you or explaining it to you or looking at it or critiquing it and helping you to understand, well, this number is going up and up and up and up. And if it keeps going in 10 years, you're going to be out of range. Why wait until it gets there? If I see your blood work, I'll say, this is already not good. So don't rely on just blood work. These doctors are there to catch major health issues, not to prevent health issues. They're not into prevention. They're not into maintenance. They're into getting life-threatening issues when they're already getting to be life-threatening. And you don't want to wait until that point. So you need to be more proactive and be preventive, maintenance. And the best way is just like your car, just take it in and have it checked every once in a while and be open-minded to having a professional like me review, diagnose all of the systems in your body so you can learn if you're really healthy or not and find the areas that are not healthy, like poor sleep, anxiety, etc., poor bowel movements, poor digestion, and fix it and stop the pathology from progressing to become worse and lead to a more chronic, life-threatening condition. I hope that inspired you folks to be healthy and understand if you are healthy or not. God bless you all, and thank you very much. I wish you the best of health and happiness.